Hello, and welcome to my second ever build guide for Path of Exile. This video will be showcasing a build that will be playable when 2.3.2 drops, as it requires the divination card, the Formless Sea, which just so happens to be the name of this character. In case you didn't know it, turning in a set of the Formless Sea will get you a Vara Nostra, one of the key items for this build. I just have some twin boss kills going in the background. I didn't have much currency in Standard, so they're mostly just blue maps, but it should get the point across. So anyways, the build is a CI Earthquake Assassin, utilizing a couple of unique items to trivialize the entire game and ensure you'll never die and never have fun again. The first item you'll need is a Crown of Eyes. This item provides all the stats we need. It has ES, it has accuracy, it turns spell damage into attack damage, and it even has some leech. The next item you'll want to pick up is the Beast Fur Shawl. This is a unique Ball Regalia that I feel is pretty undervalued at the moment. It has 600 ES, which is kind of on the low side, but it does add 40% spell damage, which becomes attack damage with Crown of Eyes, and a little bit of increased AoE, which is nice since we're using Earthquake. Now, what kind of Earthquake build would this be without using Voidheart? This ring is objectively busted, let's be honest. The free poison and bleed is already great on its own, but when you pair that with the global chaos and physical damage in the Shadow starting area, as well as the assassin's 100% more poison and bleed damage when you crit, it gets a little bit strong. Finally, you're going to need a Vara Nostra in order to make use of the various dagger, claw, and sword nodes. You can make the build work with a mace or an axe. The tree will look a little bit different, but it's significantly better with the sword. I'm also using Skyforce, but I wouldn't say those are required for the build. This is far and away the strongest build I've ever played in Path of Exile. I feel like I'm playing on autopilot most of the time, even in high tier maps with scary mods. This also happens to be the first build I've ever been able to do Uber Atziri on. You can see the bosses in the background now. I haven't been able to do Atziri herself deathless yet, but I've only actually done the encounter like 5 times, so I think with some tweaks and with some practice I'll definitely be able to. The build as you see it now is a bit different than what I was running in Hardcore Prophecy. I wound up speccing out of a bunch of ES nodes in order to pick up the Duelist Leech nodes. I was running Warlord's Mark on Blasphemy before that, and it just wasn't working for Uber Atziri. Now that I can switch between Vulnerability and Temp Chains on demand, the encounters are much easier to deal with. I actually kinda like the build more this way. It's just a little less safe considering that now Volatiles can actually kill you with the right mods, but the Vulnerability is a huge boost to DPS and clear speed. I'll let the Atziri fight finish out before I go over the links. I did die once before the video starts, so she's already a little over half dead. But it should still be a pretty good indicator of how the fight goes. You can see that the only reason I'm dying is because I'm bad. Alright, so for our weapon we've got Vara Nostra. The links in it are going to be Whirling Blades, linked to faster attack and fortify, pretty standard movement skills setup. In our helmet we're using Crown of Eyes, and in that we've got Vulnerability linked to Blasphemy, as well as Ice Golem and Portal. You can do what you want with those last 2 links, those are just ones I chose. For the shield, we have got Enlighten linked to Hatred and Discipline. We need the Enlighten so that we don't run out of mana. We've also got some reduced mana reserve nodes in the tree. Then for our chest, we've got the Beast Fur Shawl, and the links are Earthquake linked to melee damage on full life. Then we've got melee physical damage, increased crit strikes, less duration, and concentrated effect. And we switch that out for increased AoE when we need it. Then for boots we got Skyforth with our cast on damage taken setup, increased duration, Immortal Call, and Tempest Shield. Then in our gloves we got our Vol setup, Vol Discipline, Vol Haste, Vol Lightning Trap linked to increased duration. For our ring we got Voidheart over here, and then for our rare ring you're going to need a lot of resist because we're running so many uniques. So you need a ring with a lot of resistances on it. Other than that, flat physical damage, energy shield, weapon elemental damage, all nice things to have. For the belt, you're going to want high resistances. It does need to be a heavy belt because you're going to need that strength. Other than that, weapon elemental damage, ES, all that good stuff. And then for our amulet, again, lots of strength. We're going to need it for the gems, crit damage, crit multi, ES, flat damage, all that good stuff. Then for flasks, we're running Kiara's Determination. It's nice because it gives us the freeze immunity because you get frozen all the time as CI. Also gives us curse immunity and stun immunity. And then, it's also a silver flask, so it gives us onslaught. Then for our Quicksilver, we're running a Quicksilver Flask of Grounding. This is to get rid of the shock from the Vessel of Vinctar over here. Since that shocks you for the duration, the Quicksilver gets rid of it. Then we've got a Basalt Flask of Staunching to get rid of bleeds. Also have a Ruby Flask of Staunching for when I'm doing Uber Aziri because we need more charges than the Basalt Flask gives us. And then, yeah, I mean, Vessel of Vinctar for Leech. And then Taste of Hate for a little bit of added defense and added damage. So yeah, that's it. Hope you liked it. The tree will be in the description.